If you look at 2022, 2023, what are two of the top 2 or 3 goals you might have or objectives? And very interesting on those, I'd like to know what kind of metrics, how do you know if you're succeeding?
We were asked to do by the White House in July of last year, based on what's called a National Security Memorandum. We were directed to come up with baseline goals. We call them cybersecurity performance goals, CPGs, because you need an acronym for everything in the US government, as you know. And so we were asked to work with NIST and to lay out the cybersecurity performance goals, and we did it across about 11 categories, from risk management to vulnerability management to incident response to data access to configuration management, all of that, laying out what the top line goal is, what the rationale for that goal is, a series of objectives, and then to your point about metrics, essentially samples of evidence. How can you show that you've actually met those goals?
In terms of metrics, so the documents do have a metric. Are you going to gather information from the sectors? So are you going to come up with like an oil and gas rating and an electric rating? And is that going to be voluntary, or how are you going to get that information from these entities?
Well, I mean, certainly we would love to do that, right? You and I know this is not a trivial endeavor, right? The elusive measures of effectiveness and measures of performance. You know, one of the things that I did when I came to CISA, I actually changed the mission statement slightly. We used to be to understand and manage risk. So I changed it to understand, manage, and reduce risk, right? Making my job and my team's job a little harder, but if we're just managing risk, I don't think we're doing what we need to do as America's cyber defense agency. So we need to be able to work with the community to reduce risk. So I am in your headspace in terms of getting actual things that we can measure to say that we are reducing risk. These sample evidence is sort of the start of that, but I'm really interested in working with the community because I know from my time in the private sector, there's a lot of work being done on this. And I think it's being done in a good way because boards are now starting to ask these questions in a really important way, right? 5, 6 years ago, or when you started S4, boards probably had no idea. Cyber was like this IT thing, right?
Exactly.
And now boards are asking these questions, and they're the ones who want to understand all my investment, how am I reducing risk? And so the baseline, again, is working off these evidence, which I then hope can actually feed into measures of effectiveness to reduce risk.